Are the 49ers not flexible enough? And the context is the market for quarterbacks changed very quickly this offseason. The Niners didn't react. And as a result, they're just hanging on to Jimmy because things didn't play out the way they thought, and they're waiting for another window. Then with the wide receiver market, instead of getting it done as early as possible with Samuel, and it seems like he wants his money now, the Niners are waiting, and the price keeps going up weekly. And now it's going up so far. People are wondering if it's too much for the 49ers taste, which is crazy. I mean, it's just shocking to think that we're getting here. Are the Niners not flexible? Do they not pivot quickly enough? Do they not react on their feet?
That would be my contention. I truly believe that those two examples within this one offseason illustrate that the 49ers are being inflexible in these instances and would be better served with greater flexibility. I would argue. So some people say that it's not fair to criticize the Jimmy G trade fiasco because we don't actually know how it played out behind the scenes, right? Mm-hmm. Specifically, I've heard you don't know that the 49ers overplayed their hand. And to that, I call complete BS. Complete BS, right? The number one goal for the 49ers this offseason was to trade Jimmy Garoppolo.
They said so.
That is goal number one. Refresh my memory, Grant. Is Jimmy Garoppolo still on the 49ers roster?
Yes. And again, what they're saying is like, look, give us time. There's still time to trade him.
Right.
They've admitted we want to trade him. That's our goal, and we're not giving up on that. Okay, so you haven't failed yet, but you're running out of time, and most people think you're not going to be able to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. They failed because Jimmy is still on the roster right now, and most of those freaking seats are filled at this point. To me, they fell short of what they were attempting to accomplish.
Whatever. Sorry to cut you off, but whatever team they're waiting on to want Jimmy Garoppolo, they're going to want Baker Mayfield instead. There's always going to be another quarterback that's more desirable than Jimmy Garoppolo, and the Niners haven't quite figured that out yet. He's never going to be the next guy up.
To me, it's pretty obvious that the 49ers, if they had pivoted sooner and reacted to this rapidly changing, the increasing speed of the musical chair game that happened, they could have moved Garoppolo. Sure, it may have required that they slash their prices, but guess what? That's what you do in a fire sale.
Right, like for example, I think what we both agree on here is they're not flexible. Parag, Jed, John, they set out a shopping list for the offseason. What we're going to do. We're going to trade Jimmy for a second round pick. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're going to do this. And they just don't budge. So when they can't get the second for Jimmy, they're not like, should we take the third and move on? No, absolutely not. Our plan, and we're sticking to the plan, is to get a second for Jimmy. So they're going to hold on until the end of time. And that's how they are. And so now you get nothing for Jimmy. Right. Now you get a very expensive backup quarterback. And with Deebo Samuel, like as soon as Devontae Adams got traded and got that big extension with the Raiders, you knew where this was going. You should have been able to see that, there's a lot of wide receivers who are due for extensions. Maybe it's time to just give Deebo what he wants right now. Now you're waiting around, and the price tag could go up again next week. So maybe the 49ers should do some impulse buying every once in a while. Stray away from the shopping list.
So I appreciate that the 49ers put a price tag that they believed was appropriate on Jimmy Garoppolo and said, this is the value. I appreciate that. But guess what? When market changes occur, you have to adjust. That's just the way of business, right? It takes two parties to actually establish a true value within the market, within a free market. And after the surgery, Jimmy's value for all those buyers went down considerably. The 49ers, as the seller, were like, oh, we're firm on our price. Like, if that's your goal, if you're selling something on Craigslist and you are firm on your price, get prepared that maybe that thing sits in your garage for a little while, right? And that's what's happening.
Yeah, and let's talk about from Deebo's perspective. I'm sure coming into the offseason, the Niners thought, we're going to give Deebo a nice extension. We're going to give him
it's going to look great.
More money than we've ever given a wide receiver. We're going to give him, we gave Trent 23. We'll give him 22. We'll give him $22 million a year. It's going to be, Deebo's going to love it.
He's going to be thrilled.
He's going to be freaking thrilled. And now it's like, that's an insult. And are the 49ers
lowballing me?
Are you kidding me? It's an insult to offer 22. So are the 49ers the kind of team that is like, you know what? Markets change, cost of doing business, throw out our initial plan. Let's react to what's right in front of us.
Yeah.
Is that what they do? It's what they should do. But is that what they do historically? No.
No. What they do is they say, well, we've budgeted for these deals to get done. We have budgeted for Bosa and Debo, indicating that they're going to get the deal done, indicating that they're ready to pony up the money necessary to lock down Debo. But then when things begin to move in the market, it seems as if they're just inflexible. They say to themselves, no, we had a proper valuation on Debo that takes everything into account. It takes into account his injury history. It takes into account the spectacular season that he just had. Yes. But they're completely failing to take into account, not complete, that's a little hyperbole. They are failing on some level.
Go for it.
Some level to take into account what the market has done, right? The market has skyrocketed. Inflation has hit the wide receiver market, and it's time to pony up.
And you can't tell me that your team is better off without Debo Samuel. Just, I mean, maybe in a financial sense, right? But not on the field.
No,
so I think you totally broke it down perfectly, right? I agree with everything you said.
Well, thank you,
Parag. Listen up, dude. What do you get with the times? You're not flexible enough. Wide receivers are expensive. You got to pay for them. It's like housing prices in the Oakland Hills right now. I'm starting to learn. It's disgusting.
Yeah. You got to pony up if you want to get into that house game.
I'm not going to try to buy a house out here. What am I going to do? It's the price of doing business. I'm disgusted, though.
Yeah. And that's where Debo is right now. He's disgusted with the offers that are coming his way.
And the Niners are probably disgusted with having to pay that much for a wide receiver. Sorry, you want a good wide receiver? That's the cost.
And who do they have to blame for this, Grant? Anyone but themselves, right? What is this like? What is this reason for waiting to get the deal done? I understand in years past that it may have been advantageous. As soon as this market began to skyrocket, as soon as inflation hit record numbers, it was time to jump into the pool with both feet.
The Niners think their negotiating position strengthens as a player gets nervous. Am I gonna have to hold out? It becomes very uncomfortable for the player as it gets to July and August. That's how they do it. They feel like they have they win. They win the negotiation if they hold out as long as possible, take it to the deadline. That's how they do it. But you're losing. You're losing the negotiation because his price goes up.
Right.
As every other extension comes in. So
And I must acknowledge that Parag, and his inflexibility, the 49ers could still basically win both of these scenarios. They could still trade Jimmy Garoppolo. They probably will still get a deal done with Debo.
I could still find a house in Montclair for $750,000. It's 3 bedrooms, 3 baths, fully furnished with a view. I think it's possible that I could do it.
But there's going to be some compromise. And I would argue that the compromise that's having to be made is a result of that inflexibility by the 49ers, that they have cost themselves. Like you, if you have passed up on any of those dream homes thinking, oh, the next one's going to be better, but the prices keep going up, you're like, oh, I should have bought that one 6 months ago.
Yes, exactly. Oh, why don't I just wait till next year?
Yeah.
Because then I'll have more money. Yeah, but the price goes up next year.
Yeah, it'll be double.
The rates go up next year. I don't understand math or finances at all, but that sounds terrible.